Hello everyone, welcome to my Cassandra demo. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show everyone real quick just that I have Apache, the JDK, and Python installed in every one of my 3 VMs, which will be the different nodes for the Cassandra server. As you can see, there's the Apache Cassandra file, the JDK, and the Python for all 3 different Ubuntu operating systems. So we'll do Cas1, which is, as you can see, I opened up a terminal on each one just so you guys can see when I'm switching over into different ones. Just you can see the name switch there, right there. So we're in Cas1 right now, and I am going to be showcasing the YAML file. So this is the configuration file that I talked a bunch about. It is the most important file within the Cassandra database, database. Here's the cluster name that I talked about, and that's very important. Keep it simple. It is very simple for this to screw up the gossiping between the different Cassandra nodes. Super simple for it. And as you can see, there are so many different settings. Everything from, like, you can see here, max hints file size in megabytes, your authorizer, your authenticator, the role manager that's going to be managing the Cassandra transactions, how it's going to be partitioned, everything. You can decide on everything. Again, this is more of a industry level, not really a testing level kind of decision making. Most of these settings are already good to go for you. The only ones you have to really change are the cluster name, make sure they all match, and here we go, the seed nodes, which I've decided to do the Cas1 and Cas2. And again, the important things that do need to be changed, or at least I needed to change in this VM setting. I don't know if an actual database and data center, this might not be an issue. It was an issue for me, is that I did, for the listener listen address and for the RPC address, I did have to use the actual IP addresses and not what it says here that you can just leave it blank and this protocol will work. It wasn't working for me. It could just be that the host name and name resolution or any of these things were just not properly configured as it says here. And if it's not properly configured, then it might not be. It might not happen. It does give helpful hints throughout all the documentation that's inside. It's actually very helpful. And there's so many things. This file is huge and it can do a lot of things for us. But for sake's time, I just concentrated on those few things that I showed you guys. So I'm going to close this file now, and we're going to start up Cassandra. So we need to get to the bin file. So I actually do have already the command inside of my history, so I'm just going to look it up and we're going to start up Cassandra. So we're going to start them in order. Cas1 first. You have to start your seed nodes first, then your non-seed nodes first. Remember, the seed nodes help create the topology, and for the non-seed nodes, it's the only reason. Now, this does not break your cluster. This is not a single point of failure. The cluster can still wake up if it doesn't have any seed nodes. But if it does have seed nodes, they have to come first. So we'll start this up first. We'll make sure our code starts running there. And then we'll jump into Cas2. It does take a few seconds sometimes. I might skip over if it's being super not helpful. It just takes some time to wake up sometimes. Yeah, we'll skip into Cas2 just for now. Here we are in Cas2. We'll wake up Cas2, and now we'll jump into Cas3 and wake up Cas3. Okay, we'll go back into Cas1 just to make sure that things are running, and there we go. It is waking up, and then it's doing what it needs to do. There's a lot of jargon here, but the important part here is, so it's starting the messaging system here. You can see that it is. And here is the TCP connection. This is the important part. This is where it's starting the whole connection for the ring. This is usually the step where if you didn't set up your IP tables, or if you didn't set up the IP addresses in the YAMA file correctly, this would have failed. As you can see right now, there's no gossip backlog. As you can see here, which is the important part, if there's no backlog, it means the gossiping is okay. It's done the handshake with Cas2, it's done the handshake with Cas3, and they're both up and normal. They're in the normal state. That means they're up and running. And we're just waiting for the final command. Oh, no, the command is here, startup complete. So if we actually jump into the other ones, we can see the same information. Handshake with Cas3. And if we probably go back up here, yeah, handshake with 135 right there, which is Cas1. So we know it's happened, but just to visually get the information, handshake with 136, even though, and the handshake with 135 happened right there. And loading the ring state, that means that they're gossiping right now. So even though this isn't reporting anything, right now each Cassandra node is telling the other one how they're doing and what's going on. How we're going to check that? We're going to use the node tool that I talked about in the blog. So we're going to open up a new terminal. Here we go. Again, we're in Cas1. We need to head back to bin, and just to make sure it's in there. Here we go. Node tool is in there. So we're just going to pop that in and say status. This is, again, it's not the fastest running program, but there we go. So, as you can see, all three are up. There's actually a legend here about what's going on. So, UNN, up and normal for Cas2, Cas3, and Cas1. That's the load they're taking on right now. That's the amount of tokens that each can assign. Right now they're sharing 100% of ownership over data, so that's how effective they're being. So that means this cluster itself is being 300% effective. So they're all doing what they need to do, and they're all part of Rack 1. If I create another cluster with a different name, not connected to this, then it would be Rack 2. Not going to be doing that. Okay, so, but here we go. So, on to the next step. Now that we have our Cassandra servers up and running, we can now, I'm just going to leave that terminal open up a new terminal. We'll head into bin again, and what we're looking is for this little program, which is this SQL shell. We're going to be accessing this node. Sorry about that. There we go. There we go. We have a running shell. So currently we have a test. So we're going to test Keyscape, which has already data loaded into it. I just want to show you guys how that looks from student. That's pretty cool. That's how it kind of looks. We're actually going to create our own. So we're we're going to create a different one. I'm just going to quit just to make sure there's no problems there. So create key space. We're going to call this department. So we're creating key space department. We will do a replication. Oh, give me 1 second. I need to remember how. Replication. Yeah, that's okay. Class simple strategy, comma, replication, replication factor, three. And if this doesn't work, I need to jump out and actually check code. Yeah, I knew something was wrong there. Oh, yeah. Just missing that. Huh. Maybe it doesn't. Interesting. I'm just looking back at the history just to see what I did wrong. Oh, well, I got everything right, just one little thing wrong. Yeah. Sorry about that. I should double check my code before doing that, but we're all still learning this language. And of course, you know what? I don't know why I just didn't do this. Department. Perfect. Oh, because I first had a problem with that one there. Fine. Sorry about that, guys. As I said, I was still getting used to this language. So we'll use department. There we go. That will let us into the key space. Now we can start creating a table. Create table. And this is pretty much the same as we need a table space. We'll say employee. Create table employee. And each employee will have a name. There's no varchar here, there's just text. Actually, we'll do ID int first, and this will be our primary key. Then each employee will have a name, and they'll have a department. No, we'll stick simple for now. And there we have our table. So now we can actually insert data now into our table. Insert into employee. Because of how Cassandra works, you can't do the shortcut that exists in SQL, where you can actually skip the values if all the values are going to exist in your value input. You do have to actually always put the values in. And say values, and then we'll do an ID of 1001, and we'll use my name. So now if we do select from employee, there I am. Now I'm going to show you the weird thing about update. As you can see, there's the table. If I do update, and I do update employee, set name equal to John, where ID is equal to 002. There's no 002, doesn't exist, but now it does. And that was an update. In SQL, that can't happen. But in Cassandra, because this is only a write and not a read, an update can act as an insert if not handled correctly. So that although the syntax is similar, very similar, as you can see, the behavior of each of the commands is not. All right, and now I am going to actually show you guys replication at work. So we're going to jump into the other ones so I can show you guys. Of course, it took too long, so all the passwords are set. Okay, so as you can see, Cheesepay department employee was initialized, so it did happen. But if we go actually into Apache data, here it is, department and the employee table, and this is Cass 2. Now if we jump into Cass 3, Cassandra node number 3, again, department employee was initialized. If we go to Cassandra, data, there's the department, and there's the employee table. And inside there's, oh, because it just started, it won't have any backups yet. Just to show you kind of what I'm talking about, backups is the test one with student. It starts creating backups and it starts creating everything it needs to do for everything. But I've been playing around with this keyscape, testing everything out. So now I'm going to show you how replication is kind of awesome, because I'm going to go in here. We're going to go to data. Now I am in Cass 1, as you can see right now. And I am working off of Cass 1 in the SQL shell. I'm just going to delete the employees. Usually if you delete everything from that table in SQL, you just deleted your data files. You won't be able to get anything back. You won't be able to read or write anything, right? Well, here I can still read and write because I have two different nodes that have the information available for me to be able to pull it from. So if someone accidentally or somehow one of the nodes goes down for whatever reason, there are still other nodes available for me to draw information for. This is why Cassandra is so powerful. It has no point of failure. So I am able to always draw the information that I need to. It might not be the most current information, but it will always be the information there. I will always get a response. I will always get a response back from the system with something, which is what is powerful about Cassandra. So thank you so much for watching my demo and going through this journey with me. Thank you so much, and have a good end of the semester.